Do you know why some people never seem to shake off the constant chaos, the strange streaks of bad luck, the heavy feeling in their own home? You walk into the bathroom, the one place that's supposed to be private, and you don't even realize it's the perfect hiding spot for someone who wants to curse you without you ever knowing. See, witches and those who practice dark arts aren't always the robed figures you see in movies. They can be the neighbor you smiled at, the colleague you've shared coffee with, even someone in your own circle who smiles to your face but wishes destruction behind your back. In the bathroom, oh, that's their dream location. Why? Because it's where water flows, where energy drains, where what's hidden can stay out of sight. Water is a powerful conductor, not just for electricity, but for spiritual energy. Spells, curses, and rituals bound to water move faster, stick harder, and seep deeper into your life. I've seen cases where something as simple as a rolled-up piece of cloth tucked behind the toilet tank, or a strange powder sprinkled in the corners, was enough to unleash years of financial loss, relationship breakdowns, and unexplained sickness. People think magic needs candles and a full moon. It doesn't. All it takes is intention, a target, and a place where that target's energy is most vulnerable. And bathrooms. They're not just about hygiene. They're about vulnerability. This is the place you clean yourself physically, but if a witch plants something there, it's the place they dirty you spiritually. Most people never notice because they don't look. You scrub the sink, wipe the mirror, but you don't check behind the pipes, under the toilet seat lid, in the drainage holes, or inside a decorative jar that's been gifted to you. You don't think twice about that bar of soap that smells different or the oddly placed shell on the shelf. But every single item in your bathroom carries energy, and if that energy is laced with malice, you're bathing in it daily. That's why some of you feel drained after a shower instead of refreshed. That's why arguments flare up for no reason. That's why sleep feels heavy and dreams turn strange. Bathrooms are not just a place to brush your teeth and wash your face. They're one of the most dangerous blind spots in your entire home. And most people don't even realize it. Water doesn't just wash away dirt, it carries energy, it's a conductor. The same way electricity flows through wires, spiritual energy, both good and bad, flows through water. That's why ancient rituals, both pure and dark, have always involved it. Witches know this. They know if they place something in a space where water runs, where steam rises, where energy is constantly in motion, whatever intention they've put into that object will travel faster, spread deeper, and stick to you longer. They're strategic. They're not going to waste their time hiding something where it sits stagnant. They want it where it can move, where it can touch you every day without you suspecting a thing. The bathroom becomes the perfect spot because you use it daily. You lower your guard there, and every drop of water carries their work straight into your energy field. You think you're rinsing away the stress of the day, but if that space has been targeted, you might be rinsing yourself in the very thing designed to keep you weak. They're not going to put a curse where it's obvious. No, they're smarter than that. They choose places you'll never think to check, spots so ordinary you walk past them every single day without noticing. Behind the toilet tank where dust collects, under the sink where the pipes are hidden, tucked inside a pretty jar or bottle that looks decorative but was never meant to be opened. Sometimes it's in the drainage holes, those dark, damp places where you can't see past the surface, but where energy flows out of your home. They'll hide things in corners where your mop doesn't reach, inside a folded towel you never use, even behind the baseboards if they've had access. They know you clean what's visible but ignore what's inconvenient to reach. And that's exactly how they win, by making the danger invisible so you never think it's there until it's already working against you. You've got to understand these things don't always look scary. They're not glowing red. They're not pulsing with some obvious evil. They look ordinary, and that's what makes them dangerous. I've seen curses hidden in bars of soap that smell just a little too different, powders sprinkled so finely into corners that you'd think it's just dust, shells arranged on a shelf like beach decor, but carrying energy that doesn't belong in your home. A folded piece of cloth that seems harmless could actually be a binding spell, tightly wrapped around something personal, hair from your brush, nail clippings, maybe even a photo of you taken without your knowledge. Sometimes they'll mix salt with ashes from burnt offerings and store it in a decorative container. You pick it up, admire it, put it back, never knowing that every time you touch it, you're giving it permission to work deeper. And they're clever about making it blend in. That soap might be your favorite color. That powder might be hidden under a bath mat. That jar might be placed right beside your legitimate toiletries, so you think it's just another lotion or scrub. They play with your habits, knowing exactly where your hand will reach, what you'll ignore, and what you'll assume is safe. I've walked into homes where a toothbrush holder was the actual container for a spell. A normal-looking decorative plant sitting on the bathroom counter had soil laced with cursed substances. You water it, you keep it alive, and without realizing, you're feeding the energy that's meant to weaken you. Some of these cursed items are designed to deteriorate slowly, releasing energy over time. A piece of paper tucked into the base of your toilet tank might look like nothing after a few months, just mushy pulp. But when it was placed there, it could have been filled with words, symbols, or blood that carried a very specific intention. And the moment water touched it, it began to activate, spreading through the water, through the steam you breathe in, into the environment where you stand every day. I've even seen cursed combs left in bathrooms, not because they expected you to use them, but because hair naturally collects in a bathroom. Stray strands from your head, fibers from your towel, skin cells, they all carry your DNA. And if those items are placed in the same space as an activated spell, it strengthens it. This isn't random. It's calculated. They know exactly what materials hold energy and how to use them. People underestimate how many personal items pass through a bathroom. Your razor, your toothbrush, your soap, your towels, every single one of them holds a piece of you. That's why when someone with malicious intent gains access to that space even once, they can set something up that works quietly for weeks, months, even years. And because it doesn't announce itself, you just think life has gotten harder. You think the stress is from work, the arguments are from misunderstandings, the fatigue is from lack of sleep. You don't connect it to the strange little object sitting quietly in the corner of your own bathroom. And here's the part most people miss: it's not always a brand new object. Sometimes it's something you've owned for years, something they've tampered with when you weren't looking. A bottle of lotion you've had on the counter forever could have been opened, laced with something, and put back without you noticing. A towel in your closet, it could have been tied in a certain knot that holds a binding intention. You pick it up, use it, wash it, and still, the energy lingers because it's not about the physical residue. It's about the spiritual imprint left behind. I remember walking into a case where the target had a beautiful seashell in her bathroom, a gift from a friend. She had it for 2 years. She loved it. It reminded her of vacations by the ocean. What she didn't know was that the person who gave it to her had performed a ritual with that shell before gifting it. Every time she cleaned it, every time she moved it, she unknowingly kept the energy active. She started having constant migraines, arguments in her relationship, and financial strain that didn't make sense. It wasn't until we removed the shell and cleansed the space that things shifted. Within weeks, she said it felt like a weight had lifted off her shoulders. That's how powerful something so small and beautiful can be when used the wrong way, so you can't afford to overlook the little things. The things you think are harmless, the things you've stopped paying attention to because they've always been there. The danger isn't always in the new, it's in what you've accepted into your space and never questioned again. That decorative candle you never light, the handmade soap you never used, the small trinket that just appeared one day and you left it because it looked nice, these are all potential vehicles for manipulation. This is why I tell people, stop treating your home like a storage unit for every gift, trinket, or souvenir you've been given. Start questioning why certain objects are in your space, especially in the bathroom. Ask yourself, do I know exactly where this came from? Was I present when it arrived? Has anyone had private access to my home or this room? Because the bathroom is the one place you're not guarding like your front door. You let anyone use it. You don't think twice when someone says, "Can I use your bathroom?" But that's the moment they get unsupervised time in a space where they can hide something that touches your life every day. And it's not paranoia, it's awareness, because once you've seen how they operate, you realize that no detail is too small for them to exploit. They'll hide it in plain sight, make it look like part of your decor, disguise it as something practical, or tuck it so far out of sight you'd only find it if you were intentionally searching. Which is why you have to search. You have to open the bottles, move the jars, shake out the towels, look behind the pipes. And if something feels wrong, if it looks out of place, smells strange, or just gives you a bad feeling, trust that. Get rid of it, cleanse the area, don't wait for proof, because by the time you have proof, the damage may already be done. That's how they work. By hiding the harm in the harmless, by placing the curse inside something so ordinary you'd never think twice. And that's why, from now on, you don't just clean your bathroom for hygiene, you inspect it for survival. The bathroom is one of the most intimate spaces in your entire home, and that's exactly why it's dangerous when you don't guard it. This is where you undress, where you clean yourself, where you're physically exposed. It's the place you drop your guard completely because you believe you're in private. But privacy doesn't always mean safety. Spiritually, this is one of the easiest places to contaminate your energy because you're vulnerable physically, mentally, and emotionally. You're not in defense mode when you're washing your face or stepping out of the shower. You're relaxed, distracted, focused on the routine of getting clean. And that's the moment they count on when you're most open, when your energy is raw, when your aura is in the process of resetting. Think about it. This is where you shed dirt, sweat, and the energy of the day. It's where everything leaves you and goes down the drain. If someone has placed a curse or a spell in that space, they're not just attacking you. They're hijacking that process. Instead of cleansing, you're reabsorbing negativity. Instead of stepping out lighter, you step out heavier. You feel tired after a shower instead of refreshed. You notice your mood dipping every time you're in that room. You can't explain why arguments seem to happen right after you've gotten ready, why you feel agitated after brushing your teeth, or why you suddenly feel unmotivated after taking what should have been an energizing morning shower. They exploit the fact that this is your safe zone. You don't walk into your bathroom scanning for threats. You don't check every corner before turning on the water. And because you think it's safe, you leave it unprotected. But energy doesn't care about what you assume. It moves where it's allowed. And if the wrong object is in that space, it will flow straight into you. That's why curses hidden here are so effective. They're not fighting against your defenses. They're working in the one place you've left completely open. And once they're in, they don't just touch your body. They cling to your mind, your mood, your health, until you start to believe the heaviness is just part of who you are. You have to understand energy is not static. It doesn't just sit there like a rock. It moves, it breathes, it seeps into everything it touches. When a cursed object is in your bathroom, it's not just taking up space. It's radiating into the air you breathe, the water you use, the steam that rises around you. And that energy becomes part of you before you even realize it. This is why you start feeling drained for no reason. You wake up tired, go through the day with no motivation, and by evening, you're exhausted but can't sleep. Your relationships start to shift. Small disagreements turn into full-blown arguments. People misunderstand you more, tempers flare quicker, and you can't put your finger on why everything feels tense. The worst part is that this doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, so you don't notice it right away. The first week, maybe you just feel a little off. The second week, you're more irritable. By the third month, you've normalized it. You tell yourself it's just stress, the weather, work, or life being hard. But what's really happening is that you're living inside a low-frequency energy field that's been deliberately planted to wear you down. It doesn't just hit your mood, it hits your luck. Opportunities that used to come easily now fall through. Money feels harder to earn and easier to lose. Health issues pop up without warning or diagnosis, and in your dreams. They're not peaceful anymore. They're heavy, strange, unsettling, sometimes so vivid you wake up feeling like you've actually lived through them. This is the power of proximity. A curse doesn't have to shout to be effective. It just has to sit close enough, long enough, to slowly bend your life out of shape. And because the bathroom is a space you use every single day, multiple times a day, you're constantly stepping into that field, reinforcing its hold on you without knowing it. You might think you're alone in there, but the energy says otherwise. That's why so many people live for years under spiritual attack without ever seeing the sore. It's been right there beside their toothbrush, behind their toilet, or under their sink the whole time. There's a reason almost every ancient culture, every spiritual tradition, every sacred text talks about water. They knew something we've forgotten. It's not just a physical cleanser, it's a spiritual gateway. You can use it to wash away dirt, but you can also use it to wash away or channel energy. In the right hands, water is a force for healing, renewal, and protection. In the wrong hands, it becomes a weapon. And witches, those who work in the dark, have always understood this. That's why so many rituals, curses, and spells are tied to water. It's fast, it's powerful, and it carries whatever you put into it directly to the target. Think about baptism in Christianity, ritual baths in Judaism, ablution in Islam, or the cleansing ceremonies of indigenous cultures. All of them use water to prepare, to purify, to connect. Something higher. Now flip that understanding on its head. If water can connect you to the divine, it can also be manipulated to connect you to something destructive. If it can wash away spiritual dirt, it can also carry spiritual poison. That's what happens when a curse is planted in your bathroom. Every time water runs, when you wash your hands, take a shower, flush the toilet, that energy is being activated, moving through the space, touching you, attaching to you. And here's the part most people miss. Water doesn't just run one way. In a spiritual sense, it circulates. Steam from your shower doesn't just disappear. It lingers in the air. You breathe it in. It settles on your skin. If it's been infused with the wrong intention. You're inhaling it, absorbing it, carrying it with you. That's why the bathroom is so much more than a practical space. It's a spiritual hub, and when it's compromised, it's like leaving the door to your home wide open in the middle of the night. You won't see the intruder coming, but you'll feel the effects in every corner of your life. They're counting on you to be naive. They're betting on your trust, on your routines, on the fact that you believe danger always looks dangerous. Witches who work in the dark aren't going to come at you screaming or waving a wand. They'll come quietly, subtly, slipping something into your space when you're not looking. They know most people are too distracted, too busy, or too comfortable to notice. You're rushing to work, you're handling kids, you're checking your phone. You don't stop to wonder why that little object is in the corner, why the soap smells different, why there's a small bag tucked behind the pipes. They exploit the fact that most people guard their front door, but not their bathroom. You wouldn't leave your valuables sitting outside, but you leave your energy wide open in the one room where you're most vulnerable. And because you assume nothing bad could happen there, you don't check. You let guests use your bathroom without a second thought, giving strangers or even friends who secretly don't wish you well unsupervised time in the most spiritually sensitive space in your home. It doesn't take them hours to do damage. It takes seconds to place something where you'll never look, and from that moment on, the work is done. The truth is, they don't need your permission to attack you. They just need your inattention. They survive and thrive in the gap between what's actually happening and what you believe is happening. That gap, that blind spot, is where they plant their seed, and once it's there, they don't have to lift another finger. You'll carry it, feed it, and live inside its effect without ever realizing someone else put it there. Most people think cleaning their bathroom means wiping down the mirror, scrubbing the toilet, maybe mopping the floor once a week. That's surface work. That's what you do for guests to make it look presentable. But if you're talking about protecting yourself, really protecting yourself, you have to go deeper. You have to inspect, not just clean. That means moving things, lifting things, opening things. You don't just glance at the corner behind the sink. You get down there, see what's hiding, check if something's been taped, wedged, or tucked where it doesn't belong. You pull out the bottles under the sink and look inside them. You shake the towels you never use. You unscrew the drain cover if you have to, because the smallest piece of material can hold the biggest intention. I've seen people keep decorative jars for years without ever opening them, convinced they were just pretty accessories. Inside, hair, dirt, ashes, sometimes even tiny written scripts folded so tightly you'd miss them unless you were looking. I've seen bath mats with powders sprinkled underneath, where every time you step out of the shower, you're pressing it deeper into your skin. These things are placed where they know you won't bother to check because it's inconvenient or hard to reach. That's exactly the point. And here's what you have to understand when you don't search. You're agreeing to keep whatever is there. You might not know it's there, but your inaction lets it stay. That's why you can't just rely on a quick clean. You need to treat your bathroom like an inspection zone. Every bottle, every container, every hidden gap, it all gets checked. And if something feels wrong, you don't just put it back and ignore it. You remove it, you cleanse the space, you take back control before whatever's been hidden there takes control of you. Cleaning is not just about making a room look good. It's about changing the energy that lives there. You can scrub the tiles until they shine, but if you haven't addressed the spiritual residue, you've only done half the job. Physical cleaning removes dirt, spiritual cleaning removes influence, and in a space like your bathroom, where water runs and energy flows constantly, both matter. You can't just throw out a suspicious item and think the work is done, because the energy it carried may still be lingering in the walls, the drains, the air. That's why you need to pair the physical act of cleaning with intentional spiritual cleansing. That could mean pouring salt into the drains to neutralize anything traveling through the water lines. It could mean using blessed water or a purifying solution to wipe down the surfaces. It could be burning cleansing herbs nearby to shift the atmosphere, or praying with intention while you clean so the act itself becomes both physical and spiritual protection. The point is to treat your bathroom like a place that needs defense, not just upkeep. And I'll tell you this, once you start cleansing with both hands, physically and spiritually, you'll feel the shift. The air will feel lighter, the space will feel brighter, your mood will lift without you even trying. That's not magic, it's awareness in action, because when you combine intention with effort, you're not just removing what you can see, you're dismantling what was meant to work against you in silence. And once that energy is gone, it can't cling to you, it can't drain you, and it can't control you anymore. The moment you take action, the game changes. A curse, a spell, any form of spiritual attack, it thrives in secrecy, in being left alone to do its work quietly over time. The second you find it, remove it, and cleanse the space, you cut its lifeline, and you don't have to wait weeks or months to feel the difference. You can feel it immediately. It's like walking out of a room filled with stale air into one that's fresh and alive. Your body responds, your mind clears, your mood shifts. That's because energy, whether good or bad, impacts you the moment it's present or the moment it's gone. I've seen people who have struggled for years with constant misfortune, losing money, failing relationships, never-ending sickness, turn a corner within days of clearing their bathroom of a hidden item. It's not superstition, it's cause and effect. When you remove the source, you remove the influence. And when you reclaim that space, you reclaim control over your life. The key is to act the moment you suspect something. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't wait for a sign that's clear enough, because every day you hesitate, that energy has another day to work on you. Action is the antidote to spiritual attack. It's not fear that wins, it's decisive movement. When you refuse to let something hidden stay hidden, you strip away its power. You send a message, not just to whoever put it there, but to yourself, that you're not someone who allows harm to sit in your home, in your energy, in your life. And once you've taken that step, once you've fought back, you'll find there's nothing more empowering than knowing you're the one in control now. Not them, not their intentions, not their darkness. So understand this, your bathroom isn't just a place to wash up, it's a spiritual entry point into your life. The same water that cleanses you can be used against you if you leave it unguarded. Witches and those who work in darkness rely on your blind spots, your trust, and your routines. They count on you never looking deeper than the surface, never questioning what's in your own space. But now you know, now you see how they operate, and once you know, you can't go back to being unaware. From this moment on, every corner, every object, every hidden spot becomes something you choose to protect. Because your home, your energy, and your life are not open ground for someone else's agenda. They are yours. And when you claim them, when you guard them, when you cleanse them with intention, there is no spell, no curse, and no darkness strong enough to take them from you.